Oh, look. An Imperial in the Imperial prison, huh?
We've got a burglar!
Huh? You're an embarrassment.
No, I'm doing my best.
Guard!
Guard!
Your own kinsmen think you're a piece of human trash.
Stop!
Thief!
You violated the law!
You won't get away with this!
You worthless thief!
Best if you just disappear.
We've got a burglar!
Stop!
You're going to die in here.
Is there a problem?
You're going to die. Imperial criminal scum.
I woke up in a cold sweat. Oh, thank Talos that was just a dream. It was only a bad dream, but it was too true for comfort. What a fucking nightmare. I had been a criminal in my past life before my second chance here in Morrowind. I still didn't know why I was given this opportunity, but making the most of it was my new mission in life. I jumped out of bed and got dressed for the day. I had made a commitment to Ajira that I would go out and get her flower samples. Ajira was a Mages Guild member like me, but a bit more senior. For the time being, she was my boss. My job was to complete the tasks she gave me. Yesterday, unfortunately, I got a bit lippy with her. But eventually I realized I was being a jerk. I apologized and I promised to do better. I walked into Ajira's office. Hey, AJ, good morning. You're up early, I see. Always hard at work. You know I love that about you. So, it's a new day and I'm ready to be the best man I can be. What was it you were telling me about collecting pretty flowers?
Yes, Ajira must study flowers now. Ajira needs samples of gold garnet, stone flower petals, willow anther, and heather. These can all be found on the shores of Lake Amaya.
Hey, no problem. I'm sure I can find those for you. Hey, now I hate to be a bother, but where exactly is Lake Amaya? I'm still trying to get oriented here in MW.
To get to Lake Amaya, go southeast out of Balmora past Fort Moonmoth. Then follow the signs and take the road to Pelagiad. After you cross the Foyada Mamea, go towards Saran at the next crossroads. All the flowers Ajira needs are near the path to Saran, which runs across the north shore of Lake Amaya.
Okay, I have to ask, what in Oblivion is a Foyada Mamea? Mamma Mia?
Foyadas are valleys made by lava from Red Mountain. Foyada Mamamea is very old, very easily recognized. An old Dwemer bridge crosses the Foyada near Fort Moonmoth.
Huh, neat. Okay, Jir. I'll be back in a jiffy with those samples. Ajira was such a hard worker. She had been studying different forms of life for a project, hoping to get a promotion to journeyman rank. I was happy to help because it would help me with my own mission. You see, one of the conditions of my release from prison was that I would have to go to work for a man named Caius Casadas. I tracked him down in the city of Balmora and agreed to follow his orders. He had turned out to be a sort of secret agent, working directly for the Emperor. In order to work for him, I needed to build up a cover story, a reputation with the locals. I needed everyone to believe that I was a normal person. And that's how I found myself in the Mages Guild. Becoming a member of a local guild was about as normal as it could get.
Welcome, associate.
I dabbled in magic a bit growing up and was never much of a fighter, so Mages Guild seemed a good fit. I checked my journal for the directions to the place with the flowers. Ajira said I could find all 4 varieties she needed near Lake Amaya, southeast of Balmora. I jogged up the tunnel to the surface and set out onto the streets of Balmora. The crisp morning air eagerly filled my lungs as the sunshine warmed my face. I walked toward the south gates, past that weird lizard fellow. I still needed to find out why his feet were so weird. I passed through the gate and looked up at the massive silt strider at the port. I started heading east across the river. I gracefully strode atop the neatly maintained stone footbridges and hoofed it uphill. Approaching a signpost, I followed the path which the sign indicated would lead toward Pelagiad. Just up the road was a large stone fort, obviously of imperial construction. Its perfectly flat sides and precise brickwork almost made me weep. And those arches? I proceeded past the fort as instructed. At the next signpost, again I followed directions toward Pelagiad. This led me down a path with a curved bottom, upon ground that was apparently charred and lifeless. This had to be the Foyada Ajira had mentioned. At the next signpost, I turned left toward Pelagiad as indicated. I was attacked by an average rat, but my new armor made his bites feel like kisses, and my hammer dispatched him easily with a cruel thump. He got what he fucking deserved! He got what he fucking deserved. I was out of the Foyada now, and the ground was back to the familiar stony path surrounded by lush green grass. At the next signpost, I followed the direction towards Saran. I had to be getting close to the lake. There was a little shrine on the side of the road. It said, "Here in the fields of Kumu, Vivek acted as a beast of burden for a poor famer who could not harvest muck sponge after his guar died." I wondered who Vivek was. I wondered what muck sponge was. I wondered what a famer was. Continuing up the road, I saw a tiny man. I wanted to meet the little guy, but as I approached him, a giant bipedal beast lunged at me from the bushes! I swung my new hammer with all my might and narrowly avoided getting my shit rocked. I blasted the beast's face with a few solid blows, and it kindly died before me. For some reason, after it died, I suddenly could confidently identify it as a Kagudi, and I somehow realized it was mating, which explains its unreasonable aggression. Call it post-battle clarity, I guess. I stripped the Kagudi's corpse to the bone, leaving nothing left. Its hide would make a fine trophy for my first day out with my hammer smashy. I was hurt pretty badly. I wished I still had Fargoth's ring. I fished around in my pack for those healing potions Ajira had given me. I had arrogantly dismissed them as unneeded before, but now humbled, I was very glad to have them. I sipped on the potions until I was feeling better, then continued on to meet the little man who had moments ago watched me fighting for my life and refused to help me. He was probably too scared to move, bless his tiny heart. I put my hammer away and approached the little guy.
What is this about?
Hello. Ah! Would you believe that another Kagudi emerged from the bushes to attack me? I narrowly avoided death yet again as this second beast tried its best to eat me. I hate this place! This second battle admittedly was much easier. My equipment and experience was proving its worth. Finally, the danger was gone and I approached the small fellow. Hey, my name's Ass. If another Kagudi attacks me, I'd appreciate your help with killing it, okay?
Hello! Please, might you be of some assistance? My friend is lost and I'm very worried about him.
Well, I'm very worried about getting killed by wild animals. What's the story with your friend? Are you worried about him getting killed by wild animals too?
Yes! My friend Idris Oral and I were traveling to Vivek, and he heard a strange animal sound nearby. He's sort of an amateur naturalist, and he felt compelled to seek out what was making the noises. That was hours ago, and I'm afraid something terrible has happened to him. If you could find him and bring him back safely, I'd really appreciate it. I'd go myself, but I'm really more of a scholar, as is he. That's why we were traveling together. A little safety in numbers, you know. Can you help?
I instantly recalled advice I'd heard 1,000 times back in Cyrodiil.
If you've got to travel, by the 9 divines, stay on the roads.
If you've got to travel, by the 9 divines, stay on the roads.
Small sir, if you've got to travel, then by the 9 divines, stay on the roads. Hasn't anyone ever told you that? I'll try and find your friend.
Thank you! Oh, thank you! Truly, I fear for his life.
I was annoyed that this burden had fallen on me, but I guess he was just too small to solve such a big problem. I gripped my hammer tightly and walked toward the direction from which the Kagudis had attacked me. It was quiet. Too quiet. I wasn't scared at all, mind you. I'm just saying it was really quiet. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. What am I fucking doing? Come on, you assholes. Fuck. I looked around in the bushes a little bit. I was surprised to find a book laying on the ground. Maybe a bit of light reading would calm my nerves. I sat down, cleared my throat, and opened the book. Notes. Kagudi mating habits. Idris Oral. Oh. Idris Oral. That's the guy I'm looking for, isn't it? My heart sank. The diminutive dude had told me that his friend was an amateur naturalist. He had apparently been studying the animals that attacked me. I feared he may have been so consumed by his studies that he ended up consumed by his subjects. But I read on. Observations made on wild kagudi in southeastern Morrowind. Kagudi do not seem to travel in large packs, as previously believed. Perhaps they group into larger packs when mating season is imminent. Females seem to be dominant sex. Males will bring gifts of food in exchange for mating advantage. Males sometimes attacked. Loud vocalizations heard exchanged, believed to be from males, especially at night. Fascinating. Males do not seem to engage in physical confrontation for reproductive rights. Some posturing, but no conflict. All kagudi display increased aggressiveness during mating. Must be careful not to be seen. Mating kagudi found to be increasingly territorial. And that was it. He had written that they had become territorial, then dropped his journal and was nowhere to be seen. This MFer must have been eaten. I couldn't exactly go back to the short stack with this grim information. It would break his little microscopic heart. I decided to keep walking towards Saran while I thought things over. And it wasn't long at all before I saw the most beautiful sight on the left side of the road. Standing in the shade of a tree and a mushroom was a conspicuously finely dressed Dunmer. He was just kind of standing around, almost like he was waiting for permission to leave. Oh, thank Talos. Please tell me your name is Idris Oral.
Oh, thank heavens you found me! I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't shown up. I've been trapped here by some kagouti since my friend and I were separated.
Oh, thank Talos you're alive. I didn't know how I was going to break the news of your death to your friend. I met the little guy and he asked me to look for you.
Ah, you've met Thorinor! Yes, he and I became separated when I went off to investigate some sounds I heard. Of course, it turned out to be a pack of kagouti that trapped me here, but I see you've taken care of them. Did you notice any distinctive sounds they may have made while you were battling them? They have the most fascinating vocalizations. But enough of that for now. Shall we go back and meet Thorinor?
Goodbye. We walked back down the path to where Thorinor was waiting. My relief was immeasurable and my day was unruined. I took off my helmet to let my sweat evaporate.
You found my friend Idris! Wonderful!
Yup, found your friend. Safe and sound.
Thank you so much! I can't tell you how much this means to me. I'm afraid I don't have much to give you as a reward, but this amulet may help you in your travels. It's helped the two of us out on a number of occasions. Take care!
He handed me an amulet of slow falling. Neat! I can't wait to jump off some stuff. Well, bye guys. Glad you're not dead, Idris.
It's good to be away from those kagouti, though they're really marvelous beasts. Did you notice the coloration? And the larger one was a real ripper!
This guy was a real maniac. He was definitely going to get himself killed soon. I thought, oh well, he'll die doing what he loves. It suddenly occurred to me that this was all supposed to be a peaceful walk to collect flowers for a cute kitty. What a ripoff! I noticed gold cannet and heather flowers right next to Thorinor, so I grabbed those. Stoneflower I found by some stones, right across the road. Finally, willow flowers were near where I'd found Idris. I breathed a sigh of relief and headed back down the road toward Balmora, thankful that I'd already cleared the dangerous animals from the path. The walk back was indeed peaceful, and I had the satisfaction of having saved someone's life. I guessed I was becoming a real hero. As I crossed the bridges to get back into town, I paused a moment to peer over the edge. The man staring back at me from the surface of the water was someone I was beginning to really admire. I made my way down the familiar halls of the Mages Guild.
Does Anus have flowers for Ashira?
Oh yeah, I have so many flowers.
Do you have the flowers Ashira wants?
Yes, I have the flowers you need.
Yes, these are the flowers that Ashira needs. Ashira has made more potions for you. Ashira hopes that you will use them well.
She took the flower samples from me and handed me 6 Restore Magica potions. I guess those would come in handy if I ever actually used some magic. I decided not to tell Ajira about all the details of my outing. She didn't need to know, and she had a lot of work to do on her project. Thanks, Ash. Well, good luck with your project. See you later. I felt pretty good. I was turning out to be a respectable and productive member of society, finally. I thought my father would have been proud. Speaking of father figures, it was probably about time for me to return to Caius for my orders. Now that I had a cover story, I was finally ready for some undercover work. There was still a bit of daylight left, so I made my way across town to Caius Casadas' house. Hello. Ah! Hello. Ah! I turned left toward Pelagiad as indicated. Excuse me while I just get a little more drunk here.
Yes, Ashira must study flowers now.
Oh no, I'm Russian.
Okay, what we need to do is go into here. We need to put this one goes here. And this one goes here. And this one, this is just algebra. Okay.
Yeah! Wow, it's much easier to give a good performance when I'm drunk. Uh-oh.